I'm Vinodh Jaichand. I am the Dean of the University of Witwatersrand Law School in Johannesburg. I graduated from with an L.L.M degree in 1984, having started in 1983. Getting to first of all, as I mentioned early on, my first trip ever on an airplane, coming out of South Africa, thinking that I'm going to the United States where there's a great deal more freedom than where I'd come from. And having arrived here, found a fair bit of social and other tensions that seem to mirror things back home, especially around race and other issues. So that made me recoil a little bit and want to live within my own particular head, which is a thing I do quite often. There were a number of people at the University of Miami that sort of drew me out, including an administrator called Marjorie Chase, who was a wonderful woman who knew all of us from other parts of the world and who had a tendency to want to attend to our needs without being intrusive. And she knew that my money coming in for student fees was always going to be a day or a week late. And she'd offered to pay them before the money arrived, and she always thought that I was good for repaying her that amount. And that was the sort of trust that not many people had placed in me prior to that. Not many white people had placed in me, might be a better way to put it, because I came from a racial background where I'd lived in a particular confined space. And here was someone who believed that I could be trusted. Those were very exciting times because you did so much with so little. And you have great memories. I can recall listening to the Commodores. I've never known any particular campus for all of my years prior to that would get a huge group like that to play for students. I had choices when I picked the University of Miami. And my instinct said that it was a space that's going to be receptive to the kind of thinking that I was going to be involved in. So the University of Miami has been responsible in many ways for my international law thinking, for my human rights law thinking. In many ways, it does seem quite surreal that I should be the Dean of the University of Witwatersrand's Law School in Johannesburg, because I'm the first Black Dean in 92 years who's a male. So that for me has never been within my range of conception from the outset. But I think because I had a much more open-ended approach to my kind of legal education and experience, that probably is what made me attractive as a candidate for that position. So yes, it does feel very surreal that I should be associated with that law school, which is a premier law school. I'd like it to become a law school that would emulate some of the aspirations that I've been trying to articulate in my life. And one is around how one deals with equality issues. So I'm hoping that we will be able to do some inward reflection in my school, and that inward reflection gives a chance to see how we worked in the past. Because I do know that very many students had come to my law school, the University of Witwatersrand, 20, 30 years ago on permits from the state. I do know that they sat in rows that perhaps didn't get the attention of the law professor. I do know that not all of them received the kind of treatment that they should have, so they never got a fully rounded legal education of the sort that I conceive of, in the way in which I was exposed to perhaps at the University of Miami, in an open, unconditional way under difficult circumstances. I'd say to future generations, listen very carefully and closely to what's in your heart. In the context of whatever we are trying to work out in our lives, there's a great deal we ultimately do than we first perceived we could do. So first perceptions are a bit self-limiting. Thereafter we discover fully what a human being can do under difficult circumstances. Sometimes your law career may not turn out to be just another Wall Street firm. It might turn out to be maybe a law professor, maybe someone who works in a non-profit organization. But see if you can marry your understanding of the law, not only in practice, because law is a tool that helps you understand all of society. And perhaps your options are much wider than you thought, than I was able to think 30 years ago.